stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the January 20th, 2026 meeting of the Bryan Board of Public Affairs. John, will you please do roll call?
I will. Annette Schreiner.
Here.
Karen Fullworth.
Present.
Bryan Davis.
Here.
Jeremy Suffel.
Here.
And Debra Beevers.
Present. Thank you. First on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the January 6, 2026 meeting. You've all been presented with minutes from the meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes as they are written?
I would move to approve.
Second.
Bryan.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Annette.
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
And Debra.
Yes. Next on the agenda is the hearing of public concerns. Anyone present like to come to the podium? Seeing none, move on. Next is the Clerk-Treasurer's Report. John?
Yes, so each month you're provided with a number of financial reports, some of them put together by Derek's office, some of them that come from my office at the Clerk-Treasurer's office down North Building. Primarily what I'm providing is the bank reconciliation, the bank reports, the cash statement for the city, and then I provide Sylvia with some of the revenues, expenses, fund balances for the utilities. Generally you get some of that in the packet, and then I pass out the bank statements on the night of the meeting, which you've already signed. So generally it's you receive the information. I'll entertain, of course, any questions you might have tonight or anytime. You can always call me at my office. But that's pretty much all I report on a normal meeting.
I have one question, and I mean it has to do with banking. Is the city required to go through a process to identify a bank that they're going to utilize? Like in county government, we have to go out and do like an RFQ or whatever, and get information from the banks, and then I think the treasurer's the one that decides what bank intended with it.
Same rules. We
Okay.
have depository agreements. We go out every 5 years for those. And I'm not sure when the last time. I think the city used to bank with Huntington some years ago, moved to First Federal, which then became, of course, Premier, and it's now West Banco. We just followed those mergers and the name changes. But yeah, we might be a couple of years away from the end of a 5-year period for the depository agreements.
Thank you.
Any other questions for John? If there are none, can I have a motion to approve the Clerk-Treasurer's Report for December 31st, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report.
I'll second.
Karen?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Bryan?
Yes.
And Debra.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is a resolution. John, will you please number and read?
Resolution number 1, 2026, to approve the form and authorize the Director of Utilities to execute a power purchase agreement with NEI Bryan LLC for a 3.5 megawatt AC solar array project.
Okay, Derek.
So I'm just going to provide a little bit of background information on the project, and then Scott and John are here from Courtney and Associates, and they'll talk about the power purchase agreement. But the concept kind of began in late 2024. We kind of began evaluating our renewable energy sources due to the rising power costs. At that time, AMP had also proposed to us a power purchase agreement for a wind project. And after having conversations with Mr. Courtney, we decided maybe it was in our best interest to look at some additional local solar. So that's where the concept started. First step was to select a site. Preference given to city-owned property. You avoid lease complications if you own the property. We did some internal analysis. We worked with our staff. We worked with the city engineering and wastewater staff and identified about 15 acres at the wastewater treatment plant that were suitable. It was also suitable to us because the industrial park substation is in close proximity to this location as well. After we selected that site, we worked with John and a developer. They reviewed the site, and they came back and said this site could support up to a 4 megawatt solar array. After we did that, we requested from AEP, who's the regional grid operator, a system impact study. So basically we proposed to them, a 4 megawatt solar array. They go through their processes, and they came back to us and said, there's no updates required to the grid for this project. So essentially they gave us an okay. We also worked with Intrust, who's our local consultant. We did a local system impact study. What impact would this solar array have on our local grid? That study showed little to no impact, so it kind of proved that technical feasibility of the project. Next, we presented all these findings to the board. The board directed the staff to pursue a power purchase agreement rather than BMU owning and building and maintaining a solar array. And the reason for that is because it shifts all the construction, the operational and the financial risk on the developer, and provides us with a fixed rate for energy. By Resolution 29, the board authorized the issuance of an RFP for a power purchase agreement. We received 2 proposals. We evaluated those with Mr. Courtney, and then the board selected Eatree Foundry as the preferred developer. Also, the board had authorized the Director of Utilities and the Mayor to negotiate the terms of a power purchase agreement, an easement agreement, and an interconnection agreement. Along with that, the board also authorized retaining John Coyle as outside legal counsel. John has an extensive history of working with BMU and also in the electric and energy sectors. In between all of that time, we've been having ongoing discussions and meetings with Eatree as far as site layout, site design, making sure that this project fits all of our long-term needs. It's not a hindrance to any of the departments or the location of where it is. So all of those conversations have been happening. City Council also approved Ordinance 67, which granted Eatree limited site access so they could go out and do surveying work and geotechnical work as well. So that really brings us to today. We're continuing to work on that design, that layout, and I would turn it over to Mr. Courtney to talk about the power purchase agreement.
Yeah, I'm going to avail myself of a seat if you don't mind. As some of you know, I'm still recovering from a back surgery that didn't go well, so limits my ability to stand. But anyway, I believe you all have copies of the power purchase agreement.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to do this actually in reverse. Normally I'd start at the front and kind of hit the highlights of the agreement and go to the back, but actually it turns out I think that the way the agreement's laid out, it might be best to start at the back. So I'm just going to touch on some of the key provisions in the agreement, starting with Exhibit A, which is good back, which is a description of the system. Dory kind of pointed out, it's still not quite in final design, but right now it appears that we're looking at a 3.5 megawatt AC solar array. They also give it a DC rating of 4.4, which is typically, it's always going to be slightly higher. But the AC rating is the one we deal with because that's what you receive as AC current that comes into your system. So from Exhibit A, I guess I would take you to page 17. And say kind of working from the back to the front. Section 10 on page 17 is the term of the agreement. And the term of the agreement is basically, I hope these are all the same page numbers I've got.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope we're all looking at the same version. I guess I should ask that first. So the term of the agreement is an initial term of 30 years from what we call the commercial operation date, or COD. And then there's a provision there as well for 2 5-year extensions by mutual agreement. And we haven't had any agreements we've done with these projects that have gotten to the very end yet to do the extensions. But this could turn into a 40-year project, actually. The key point is, you don't own the project. You know, the third-party entity owns the project. So to the extent the project fails or needs replacements, or there's something that has to be replaced, that's on them, it's not on you. You're only going to pay for the energy that you receive from the project. And if it can't produce because of failure, well, then you either pay, you'll get less energy, or they'll make the improvements necessary to get it back up to full capacity. So, and by the way, if you have questions as I'm going through these, feel free to stop me and ask. So I think my next stopping point is back on page now 10. And this is a section that kind of covers the price. And you'll see in 6.1 there's a reference to Exhibit E, and that's where the price is for the energy. Got a pretty competitive price on this project relative to what we were seeing with some other similar projects, priced around the same time. And the good news is, at least so far, the E3 has told us they can hold the price, and that's kind of the reason for trying to get this agreement in place as soon as we can, so that they can go ahead and start placing their orders for their equipment, and get that equipment installed as quick as they can. So I think my next stopping place, going back towards the front, is section. Oh well, let me go back to 6.3. It's on page 11. Excuse me. Wrong section. What happens when you go backwards? So, actually, it is towards the front. It would be.
Thank you.
Should be section 5.
Page 9.
Yeah, it's actually top of page 10, that's what I meant. So we're still on that same page. 5.2, just wanted to point out that the price that you're getting does not include renewable energy certificates. And the reason for that was, or what we call RECs, kind of in the industry, but these are the tags that kind of go with the project that account for it being a renewable resource that can be traded in the industry. The reason we recommended not taking the RECs with the project was because the price differential to get the RECs was fairly big. I mean, the developer felt that the RECs had more value than what we kind of anticipate over the 30 or 40-year life. And so we said, fine, let the developer keep the RECs. Doesn't mean you're not getting renewable energy. It does mean, though, if you want to credit that, you would have to buy RECs to kind of be able to make that claim. And you can buy those RECs, for example, probably for around a $2 to $3 a REC, and the credit the differential they were looking at was about $20. So that's why we said, hey, we'll take the energy without the RECs, and then if need be, we can buy the RECs to cover that need. So, so working them back towards the front, my next section would be 3.3.3 on page 4. And this is the commercial operation date, or what we call the target commercial operation date. It's in the agreement, and that is that the provider shall cause the commercial operation date to occur no later than June 30th, 2027. Now, I know that's out there a ways, and we don't anticipate this project, nor does E3 anticipate this project taking that long to construct. But there are unknowns with regard to delivery. I'm sure you read that in the newspaper or hear on the news about supply chain issues with regard to renewable devices. Actually, the renewable devices aren't as critical now as they are as the transformers are, as we understand. And so that just gives them a little bit of comfort, level of comfort there to know that they can get the project done by then. The guys at E3 are telling us that they anticipate this project being done in 2026. And hopefully by November or December of 2026, because at least right now under current rules, you can reach back and get credit as though they were installed in 2026 from the transmission system operator, PJM, and that's a big plus. And they know that, and they're going to do their best to try to make sure that they get that project in by then. But again, a lot of it just depends on the supply chain issues. So, and I think that gets me back to the first page. So It's kind of a quick summary, just try to hit some of the key points and try to answer any questions you might have regarding the power purchase agreement.
Now, I was reading through this, and these are going to be at a fixed tilt.
It's a fixed price. Now, there are some provisions for the.
I mean,
No.
the panel itself.
There's no escalation. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about the price. Excuse me.
Yes, sorry.
These are fixed array, yes, they're not tracker. We took bids, if you remember.
Yeah, we did.
We took bids on both tracker as well as a fixed array. And each just felt, because of the layout of the site, they felt it was, well, and based on the pricing they gave us, it just made more sense to go with the fixed tilt rather than the tracking system. I will tell you, we've got several clients who have trackers.
Yeah.
Mount Perry, right up the road, for example, part of their solar, they have both. They have a combination of fixed tilt as well as trackers. And I know they've had some issues with their trackers. I can tell you, other than maybe one project we've been involved with trackers, just about everybody's had some sort of an issue with trackers, because they're moving parts, and while they work great in warm climates, they don't tend to work as well up here, especially when we see weather like we've been having lately. So yeah, they'll be fixed tilt array. What that means is you'll get a little less energy out of them, a little less capacity later in the day. But again, because of the trade-off of the price, we got pricing for trackers, but they were quite a bit higher. And so it just made sense economically to do the fixed tilt. I'm sorry.
So even though the E-Tree would have been in charge of maintaining it, was still not worth it?
They would, but again, the added benefit you get from going to the tracker was not offsetting the additional cost for the energy that you're going to pay. So it just didn't make economic sense to do that anyway, because of you weren't going to save as much, enough to cover that extra cost. They don't give you the same price.
Right.
So you're going to pay a lot more per kilowatt hour for the energy. And that additional cost was greater than what you would have seen as additional savings from the tilt.
So the fixed tilt is still more popular than the one that
The
moves?
single axis, yeah, tractor, yeah, it definitely is.
I was surprised, it looks much bigger on paper. It just does. Okay. I don't have any more questions right now.
Okay.
We have everything lined up, the agreement with the city for the land and...
So on council's agenda tonight is the easement agreement, which Mr. Courtney is going to present to them. And then the final step would be the interconnection agreement, that point at which the power from the solar array goes onto our grid, which we're still working out the details of that. So that would come here in the near future.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to have the interconnection agreements come a little bit later because they're still trying to work out their design until we know that for certain. But yeah, I expect with sometime in the next month or so, we'll be back. Or some, I don't know if I'll make the trip up, but you'll at least have an interconnection agreement in front of you. It's pretty much a boilerplate type document. And as Derek said, we're leaving here, heading over to the council meeting, doing some sewer rate work for them. But in addition to that, we'll talk about the easement agreement. I will tell you that the key there is that the easement agreement is co-temporous with the solar PPA. So, it'll be a 30-year agreement, just like your agreement, and it'll have the 2 5-year extensions if they're exercised. So other than that, it's a pretty straightforward agreement. And by the way, I should mention that both the power purchase agreement and the easement agreement have been reviewed by the city attorney, and he's signed off on them. He actually just signed the documents. We got to talk about that because the signatures aren't necessarily in the right spots. So we'll address that later. But yeah, he's already reviewed both documents as well and signed off on them.
Thank you.
I guess the only other question I would have is, we'll have to give, or part of this agreement is giving E-Tree right-of-way easement, stuff like that, right? Will they have to give like notification that they're going to be on site if they're working on it?
Yeah, they've worked with us already. They work mostly with Wes and Josh at the wastewater plant. Let them know when they're there. That's what that original due diligence, that hold harmless agreement was, to get them on site early.
Okay. So then they could, everything, but to find a design, when do you think they might actually kind of start, ballpark?
Their tentative schedule is April 1st.
Oh, wow. That won't take long to put in then if they,
No,
If
I'm
they're-
not-
They go, well, we jokingly say it takes longer to get all the documents in place than it does to build the projects. And that's usually the case. Although I will add, this went a lot quicker because we put in the request for proposals, if you remember. And we put in a sample power purchase agreement and easement agreement. So they already saw the document, and they were familiar with that document because we've used it on other projects with the same company for other municipal clients. So actually, putting together the power purchase agreement and easement agreement went much quicker than it typically does.
okay. I don't think I have any more questions or comments. Anybody else? No. Okay.
Thank you, John.
Okay?
I just
Yeah.
said thank
You
you.
done with us?
Yeah.
We gotta get to a council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming, John. Take care of yourself.
Now, I'm working on it.
Okay, so may I, if nobody has any more questions, may I have a motion to accept resolution number 1, 2026?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Bryan,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
and Debra.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is another resolution. John, will you please number and read?
Resolution number 2, 2026, authorizing the transfer from the 501 Electric Fund to the 515 Electric Capital Reserve Fund.
Okay, Derek.
So this is a formal request to authorize the transfer of $2.2 million from the Electric 501 fund. The 501 is the O&M fund to the 515 Electric Capital Fund. This is approved in the 2026 Electric Department budget, but it does require formal authorization to complete the transaction. These funds are designated for capital expenditures and capital projects. It's just strictly procedural, so would request authorization to transfer $2.2 million from the 501 fund to the 515 Electric Capital Fund.
Make a motion, resolution 2 to transfer from electric fund to the electric capital.
I will second it.
Karen,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Bryan,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
and Debra.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is also, yes, another resolution. John, will you please number and read?
Resolution number 3, 2026, authorizing the transfer from the 502 Water Fund to the 525 Water Capital Reserve Fund.
I'd make that motion.
Derek has to read first.
I apologize, Derek, please.
So same process. Instead, we're going from the Water O&M Fund to the Water Capital Fund. That amount is $225,000. Again, procedural, it's approved in the 2026 water budget.
Now you.
Now I'll make that motion, sir. My apologies.
I'll second.
Bryan,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
and Debra.
Yes.
Okay, so next on the agenda is a motion to appoint BPA committee chairs for finance, electric, water, communications, and HR.
So just a little bit of information. The committee structure is established as committee of the whole, meaning that each committee will have one chair. Those committees meet on an as-needed basis. When they do meet, the chair of the committee can invite one other board member to attend the committee meeting. So based on your discussion, you'll appoint chairs to each of the committees. Just for historical purposes, the chair of the Human Resource Committee is typically served as chair of the board, but that's just from a historical perspective.
So, I know this is kind of short notice for you guys, but is anyone interested in a particular committee they would like to chair?
I'd like to chair finance.
I'd like to chair communications in the BIPAC.
That's the next one.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Deb, do you have an
Well-
interest in one of them?
Well, it would be HR, but I'm hearing, that's usually would be for the chair. So I open to do electric or water, or both, whatever.
Do you have a preference?
No, because this is so new to me that I couldn't even, it's really not an educated decision. So I'm learning, but willing to jump in and learn and,
Okay.
yeah.
Karen?
I'll do electric.
Okay.
Give
You
me
wanna do water?
Yeah, because it really doesn't matter at this point for me.
Yeah, I can do either one too.
Yeah, water's fine.
Okay.
Water's
So,
smaller department. Starts off easy.
Brian, you have expressed interest in finance being the chair. Karen, you have expressed interest in being the electric
Yeah.
chair. That doesn't sound good, electric chair.
Yeah, it does. Sorry, Karen.
I like that though. Deb, you have expressed interest in the water chairperson, Jeremy, communications, and I will be HR. So I guess I would like a motion to approve the appointments as stated.
I will
I'll
make a motion. Oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve
Second.
committee chairs.
Deborah,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Bryan,
Yes.
and Jeremy.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is a motion to appoint a BPA member to the BIPAC Committee. Derek.
The BIPAC Committee, which is the Bryan Industrial Park Advisory Committee, they're responsible for regulating and making recommendations to City Council and the Board of Public Affairs regarding the city's industrial parks. The committee is composed of the mayor, director of utilities, city attorney, city engineer, one city council member, one BPA member, one representative from WEDCO, one representative from Ohio Gas, and one representative from the chamber. The committee does meet on an as-needed basis, so we'll be looking for one BPA member to serve on the BIPAC.
I would like to volunteer. Nobody else does, but if so, we can.
I have an interest in that as well.
I do not.
You don't?
Just me.
When do they, how often do they meet, do you know? Based on past history? And what?
It just
when?
depends on the activity, typically during normal working hours. A couple times a year, at least in the past several years, that's been the frequency.
I don't know if that makes a difference if it's during the workday,
I'm flexible.
so.
I'm okay with during workday, being retired.
So do we,
You would need a motion to appoint one BPA member.
okay. I need a, need a motion to appoint either Jeremy or Karen. So do we just,
I'd make a motion to appoint Jeremy.
Deb, do you have a,
I guess I'll second that. That's what you're needing right now.
next on the agenda,
Yeah, I need to read that, I'm
oh,
sorry.
sorry.
So, Bryan,
Sir,
Deborah,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
and Jeremy.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is a discussion regarding the appointment of an OMEA Board Alternate. So, Derek.
So OMEA, the Ohio Municipal Electric Association, it's a nonprofit corporation whose members are Ohio municipal corporations that own and operate electric systems. OMEA's purpose is to serve as the liaison to those electric systems by monitoring federal and state legislative activities. In 2025, Mayor Carrie Schlade served as the OMEA designee and Dick Long serves as the alternate. So typical practice would be is for the board to have discussion on the designee and the alternate, and then at the February 3rd meeting, we would bring you back a resolution.
Is anybody interested in being the alternate to being the alternate OMEA board?
With the mayor being primary, is that the? I will if needed, but I don't have, I'm not saying I should, but if.
And these are like during the day
Karen
conferences
or
and stuff
Annette.
like that, or meetings during the day in Columbus, is that correct?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Most of them, I believe, are out of town.
Yeah, they are out of town in Columbus, typically
There are
all
some
day.
virtual, I believe, but most of them are in Columbus.
So then you would be required to go when she cannot make it.
In her absence, yes.
I'll do it if you two are not asking to be appointed to that. I don't mind.
I am not.
Okay, Karen.
I think you'd be good on it.
Okay, thank you. All right.
That's your experience, yeah.
So we'll bring a
Okay, so-
resolution back at the February 3rd meeting with the mayor as the designee and Debra Beevers as the OMEA alternate.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Deb. Next on the agenda is the 2025 year in review. Derek.
Well, good evening. Have a brief slide deck prepared for this evening to present the communications, the water, and the engineering department's year in review. We'll start in the communications department and just take a look at the annual fund activity. The communications 509 fund, that's the O&M fund. We started the year with a fund balance of $1.88 million. For 2025, we budgeted revenues at just over $201,000, and then our actual revenues were just shy of $314,000. Budgeted expenses were at $604,000, and actual expenses to end the year were $480,000. This gave us a margin or a decrease of $166,000. We did not budget any transfer to the capital, as you just approved for the electric and water. We did not budget that. Left us with a year-end fund balance of $1.7 million, or an overall decrease of $166,000. If you go to the middle column, 535, that's the capital fund for communications. Started the year just over $70,000. We did not budget any revenues. Although year end, we did have about $2,200. That's from the sale of fixed assets that are retired, no longer in value, no longer in use through gov deals. And then we did not budget any expenses. The actual year end was a little over $1,900 in expenses, and that was to finish up a project from the prior year. So we ended in the capital with a fund balance of $71,000. So an overall increase of $219. When we look at them combined, the 509 and the 535, we started the year at $1.95 million, and we ended the year at $1.78 million. This slide just provides a sales and services snapshot. The fiber sales represent the majority of the overall activity at 69%. Internet sales account for 31%, and in the cable TV, essentially there was no activity. Just for a reminder, cable TV service was discontinued in May of 2022, and cable modem internet service in December of 2024. We do still see some of those revenues trickle in over time. As you can see on the cable, the $549. And on the internet, we bill a month behind, so even though we ended in December, we knew we could still collect revenues into 2025. And then again, the largest portion of the sales is the fiber. We do have a small number of fiber customers, and then also we have fiber lease agreements with various entities around the country. Just looking at total sales revenue from 2022 to 2025. Obviously, 2022 was the Highest sales revenue at 1.39 million. Revenue did decline in 2023 and 2024. 751,000 in '23, 675,000 in 2024. And again, those declines were primarily due to the discontinuation of those services. And then for 2025, total revenue, almost 193,000. The slide prior broke that down between fiber, internet, and cable TV. Just a last thing from a financial perspective for the communications fund, which would be the consolidation. We do plan this year to transfer the year-end fund balance from the 509 O&M fund to the 501 electric O&M fund. That was the $1.7 million. And then we plan to transfer the year-end fund balance from 535 capital into the 515 electric capital, and that was the $71,000. All revenues and expenses are now recorded in the electric fund. They're in the 501, 514 electric communications. And then at some point, probably late in 2026, we'll work with John in his office to officially dissolve the 509 fund. Any questions on finances, communications department?
So when you go to dissolve an account, do you have to keep any kind of documentation for that? I mean, obviously, yes, but
So.
Beyond that?
The city council is gonna have to pass a couple of resolutions in order to make the necessary transfers as spelled out by the Ohio Revised Code. At the end, there will be two transfers that take place. At the end of the second transfer, the money will go from the 509 fund for the operating side to the 501 fund. So from communications operating to electric operating, there'll be zero left in communications, and we just
that's it.
inactivate the fund and all that information in the system. On the capital side, the exact same thing will happen. For capital projects, it's a little more direct. We can go straight from the communications capital to the electric capital. The operating is a two-step process, but both of those communications funds will end up being zeroed out and just inactivated in the financial system.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Derek, I have a question. The fiber lease agreements, can you give me an example of who we would have those with? What type of business
So we
or?
have dark fiber agreements with Northern Buckeye Education,
Okay.
also the hospital,
Okay,
and I think we have one with Marquette as well.
so companies or businesses that have a lot of system needs, sounds like.
And they use our fiber, the dark fiber, to transport their data.
Okay,
The county uses it to interconnect all in-town facilities as well.
okay, thank you.
Huge asset.
Yeah.
You might want to tell her what RTEC stands for.
Ridgeville Telephone.
It's,
Ridgeville Telephone Exchange Company.
yeah.
If there's not any more questions for me, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and he's going to talk about progress in the communications department.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mike.
All right, so the first one on the HFC system, we removed the satellite earth stations behind the head end. If you drive back there, you'll notice a big field now where there used to be. We worked with the water department. They helped us, and we recycled most of what was there. We decommissioned and removed the HFC system equipment. Basically, that's the node cabinets and everything involved in it. And that was part of the monies that we made this year selling things on gov deals. We sold what we could and then recycled what we couldn't. We retained the HFC conduit system for future BMU use. We put that to bid and we decided the value of keeping it greatly outweighed the value of selling it. So we still have that. And then next here, all right, fiber optic projects. The water treatment plant fiber, we ran a new fiber into the water treatment plant, and we tied that into the 144 count fiber that we had previously the year before ran for our new inner ring. The Fountain City Water Tower SCADA fiber, we ran single mode, replacing the multi-mode that was going to the water towers. And we were able to feed that with the HFC plant that we didn't sell. So that was nice. Let's see, the next one, substation fiber termination. We ran fiber into the substation at the power plant and connected that also with the 144 count fiber. It used to be on the 96 count fiber, which was getting kind of clogged up, and so the 144 is going to help us with that problem. Let's see, the next one, power plant substation breaker fibers. Basically, there's breakers at the power plant. We had to run multi-mode fiber to all these breakers, so that way they had connectivity and they could talk to them and know what was working and what wasn't. So the Center Street AMI Gatekeeper Edition, we had to install a new gatekeeper over there. We were having some problems with the meters all collecting on the gatekeepers that we already had. So by adding this, it relieves some of the pressure from the current gatekeepers. And we also tied that into the HFC fiber ring that we kept. Daggett Street Substation decommission. So basically we had fiber going in there. We had one switch that was feeding a well house. So we rerouted the fiber. Currently it is waiting on warmer weather to splice it in, but the fiber's in place, and we are going to probably do that first thing come spring. So let's see, the wastewater treatment plant fiber. Let's see, we ran a new fiber into the wastewater treatment plant, connecting that also to the 288 count fiber that we had run about 3 years ago. So that's going to be able to feed everything that Wes needs in there for all of his SCADA and stuff. The Edgerton fiber reroute. Originally we had a fiber routed north of Edgerton. It was going through the side of the woods. And we had, I think, 2 or 3 outages in the last 5 years due to the squirrels chewing through the fiber. So to make it a more reliable route and to deal with some other things too, we rerouted that around the woods on some poles that the electric department had previously set in Edgerton, so we were able to jump on those. The senior center fiber, again, we ran fiber into the senior center for the county there, and we tied that into the HFC fiber also as well. So let's see if I go on to the BMU network here. We got the power plant, Bryan Street hub, Cisco core network upgrade. Basically that's to replace end-of-life equipment, improve redundancy and speed also. The next one, the police and fire, real similar. We're replacing end-of-life equipment, helping with speed issues there. The water treatment plant rugged com upgrade. We were able to put a rugged com out where we had a Cisco switch. The rugged com stuff works way better. We're able to do a lot more with it, and so that was a big upgrade out there.
Is that just a brand name?
Yeah, basically. The RuggedCom ones, they're a lot more with the name RuggedCom, so they're a lot more rugged. We can put them in places and we don't have problems. And since we already have a lot of RuggedCom stuff, it's easy for us to network the RuggedCom in with other RuggedComs. Sometimes Cisco is kind of a specific brand. They like to work with other Cisco things very well, so it's kind of hard to get them to intermix sometimes.
So the rugged com is more universal?
It's more durable, yeah. You know, it's more durable for the locations that we need to put it. And like I said, it wasn't easy mixing Rugged Com and Cisco stuff together. We had some problems arise with that, so. Let's see, the water treatment, okay, the water tower and well network upgrade, again, the water tower, I previously talked on the slide about running the new fiber. Basically, the water tower got a Cisco switch there, and I'm sorry, I take that back. A Rugged Com switch there. The well 2 did get a Cisco switch, just because that was feeding something that we could do that with. We're kind of low on the Rugged Com switches. Let's see, the Barracuda upgrade, that was upgraded for security reasons. Not a whole lot other than the VPN changes for secure remote access. Again, security reasons, we had to make changes to the VPN. And voice upgrades to include Doppler. Basically, we upgraded our routing, and we were able to migrate our call center to Doppler instead of the CRC that we were using. Hopefully that goes all real well. This is kind of a new thing we're doing. And City of Bryan wireless upgrade. We have wireless that was previously mainly at BMU. We needed to upgrade that. Also the Don North building and some other city, the parks department, and mainly about every city building. We went ahead and ran a wireless access point in there, that way that they could use that. And I know we added other ones in some areas, even on this facility, to take up some dead spots that we were having and some other problems. Okay, upcoming projects. Complete the fiber construction on East Wilson Street to bypass the old Daggett. Again, that's pretty much constructed. We're going to need to splice that, and we should be good to go come early spring. The new head-end fiber termination for the main 288 fiber ring. So originally, when we had put the 288 count around town, we ran the fiber into the head-end, and we temporarily terminated it into a patch panel, because at the time we had plans to build a whole new head end. So we didn't want to get crazy with it. We ended up sticking with the head end we have. So unfortunately now we have to switch those patch panels out to bigger patch panels that can accommodate all 244 fibers. So engineering and design for future BMU electric projects. That's what we do. You know, we whatever the electric, the water, the other departments of the utility need, we help them out, and we design and engineer whatever their needs are for them. So the raised drive fiber relocation project, that's another big one. We were in the process of actually rerouting that this past fall, but the weather set in real quick on us, unfortunately. So as soon as we have the ability due to the weather, we're going to go ahead and run that fiber and get it spliced up. That is a pretty big one for us, because we do sell some dark fiber to Metalink for their wireless, and that goes through the raised drive fiber. So we have to be real careful about switching that over. And then the Microsoft Exchange project for BMU and city departments. So basically we're implementing the new Microsoft 365 for the whole city. That's a lot for our IT to handle. It's going to be a big deal, and I'm sure that Cody and Heath and Raymond are going to be very busy come the time to do that. So, any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the water department. And we'll start off, just take a look at the annual fund activity as well. The 502 water fund, that's the O&M fund for the water department. We started the year at $3 million, budgeted revenues at 2.7. Actuals for 2025 exceeded that, just shy of $3 million. Expenses were budgeted at $2.5 million. and actual expenses were just over $2.4 million. That gave us a margin of $570,000. Debt service, that's principal payments only, about 147. There is another slide that will show the details of those. And then as we talked about earlier, the transfer to the capital fund of $300,000. Left us with an ending fund balance of $3.1 million, or an increase of $123,000. On the water capital, the 525 fund started the year at $724,000. We had budgeted revenues at $300,000, but year-end actuals were almost $620,000. We did receive a few grants that were reimbursed to us throughout the year. One was an EPA generator grant, at about $41,000. Excuse me. South Lynn Street was a water line project, received a grant for $275,000. And then, just like we talked about in the communications, we did have some gov deal sales at about $3,300. So $320,000 in grants and a little bit in gov deal sales. So that's the total of $620 for the revenue for the capital fund. Expenses for the water were budgeted at $1.1 million. Actual expenses were $413,000. The big driver in that was the East Mulberry Street water line project. That wasn't awarded till the second week of July, and the contractor wasn't able to secure all the parts and materials and be able to get the project completed before winter weather. That was budgeted at $560,000, so that's why the big discrepancy in budgeted versus actual. That project will be done in 2026. Gave us an ending fund balance of $930,000, or an increase of $207,000. And when you look at the combined 502 and 525, started 2025 with $3.75 million and ended the year at just over $4 million, or an increase of $330,000. This slide just takes a year-over-year look for the last 3 years at water total cash. Total cash is both the O&M and the capital funds. It's kind of hard to see, but the middle line there is blue, and that's 2025. So we ended 2025 pretty similar to 2023. Just a couple things to point out. You can kind of see, at the beginning portion of the year, the first quarter of the year, the fund balance might start to climb up. A lot of times that's the capital transfer that was done, you'll see that. And then once you get into the May and June, the construction season, you start to see that cash go down as those projects happen, and then kind of stabilize through the rest of the year. Debt service, mentioned this on the previous slide, but here's a more detailed look at it. 2025, we had debt service for the Town Line Road, just about $41,000, that's principal and interest. And for the AMI project, about $135,000, again, principal and interest. So Town Line Road, debt service obligations end in 2029, and the AMI project in 2033. This slide's just going to, again, take a look at our sales usage, just kind of a snapshot of sales by class. Residential customers are the largest volume, approximately 136 million gallons, generating about 1.44 million in revenue. Industrial and commercial customers, they also consume large volumes. Industrial users, roughly 128 million gallons, which generates about 544,000 in revenue. Commercial users at 73 million gallons, about 761,000 in revenue. Pre-service, that represents the smallest volume of around 25 million, and as expected, does not generate revenue. And if you want to look at it just by percentage, residential and industrial respectively 38 and 35%. Commercial accounts make up 20%, and then free service 7%. In terms of customer counts, approximately 4,000 accounts, roughly 3,300 residential accounts, 600 commercial accounts, and 44 industrial, and 24 free service. So this slide just helps us break down and understand what customer classes drive demand and revenue.
Gary, can you give me an example of who's in the 24 for free service? Is that like an internal city?
Yeah.
City swimming pools?
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
Water sales, just kind of shows a year-over-year volume. Just take a look at the customer classes, again, 2022 through 2025. If you look at 2023, comparing it to 2022, residential and commercial volumes increased slightly or remained stable. Industrial usage declined and free service volumes rose. From 23 to 24, residential sales continued to grow slightly. Commercial sales increased again, but the industrial volumes decreased further, and then the free service dropped as well. The industrial drop likely driven by reduced production, operational constraints, or efficiency measures. And then lastly, when we look at 2025 versus 24, residential and commercial volumes again showed some increases. The industrial sales rebounded nicely, and the free service still is declining.
I like that chart right there. I'm going across there.
This just takes a look at the annual water sales over the past 4 years. 2022, you'll see there was a 10% increase from the prior year. 23 and 24, we had consecutive declines in 1.2 and 4.6%. But then 2025 did rebound nicely, an increase of 4.9%, just over 362 million gallons. And that kind of gets things back to those recent historic levels, as you can see from 22 and 23. And then one final slide for the financials for the water department. Just a little bit of rate history. The last rate increase went into effect December 20th, 2021. And that was the last of a 3-year increase. October of 22, we did a revenue requirement analysis, but there was no action taken from that analysis. For 2026, we do have plans for a comprehensive rate evaluation. And we're going to kind of look at this in 2 pieces. First, we're going to do the revenue requirement assessment, where we're evaluating our revenues adequately covering our 5-year capital plan, our O&M expenses, and our debt obligations. And then based on those results, we'll determine whether or not we do the full cost of service study. The full cost of service study is looking at each class and making sure that those rates or costs are spread out fairly. So, and then as always, our funding strategy is to identify and leverage grants when they're available. Happy to take any questions. If not, I will turn it over to Jimmy and we can talk about the project.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Jim.
First, I'd like to touch on some of the key projects that were conducted in 2025, and then lastly, we'll move into some of the projects that we're looking forward to during 2026. So in 2025, 3 of our state certified lab technicians analyzed over 400 bacteria samples. That also serves for outside customers and not only us as a utility. Each year, the Ohio EPA hands us an annual monitoring report, and This past year, we tested for disinfectant byproducts, lead and copper, organics, rheologicals, nitrates, VOCs, and total coliform bacteria. Every 3 years, Ohio EPA will conduct a sanitary survey at our water treatment plant facility. Pretty much what this consists of is that they'll take a look at our water treatment plant monthly operating reports, our lab numbers, the tests that we run, our treatment technique, and how we operate our treatment plant. And then they'll also come out to our distribution system, take a look at our 2 water towers that we have in town and our 6 groundwater wells. And with that sanitary survey, there was no violations given to us or recommendations after that survey, which was very good for our operators. With all those testings that we conducted this year for the annual monitoring report and our bacteria samples, all those samples met or exceeded Ohio EPA requirements needed. The water treatment plant pumpage in 2025, we pumped just a little over 472 million gallons of water. Our highest month was in June with just over 44 million. And our lowest month of production was in November, which was just over 34 million gallons produced. This next slide is a good visual on the year-to-year tendencies of our production. What you'll typically see is kind of from May to August is our higher production months. This is mainly because of our irrigation systems within town. People are using a lot more water to water their lawns. We utilize more water during our hydrant flushing program, which conducts in the summer months. And we also have the free service number. We have ball fields that we water throughout the summer to keep those nice for our athletes as well. Moving on to some of the bigger projects. The first project that we tackled at the water treatment plant was our general filter aerator. This is the first pre-treatment process when it comes to our treatment technique at the water treatment plant. Operators every 3 years replace the 1,400 cubic foot of media inside this aerator. It assists with the iron removal process that's in our source water. The media contains 3.5-inch wiffle balls. It's what you see in that picture right there at the bottom. So what our operators do is that we take out the old spent media that's covered in iron. We take that out, we clean the inside of the aerator, and then we go ahead and reinstall those wiffle balls. After that project was conducted, we moved on to our reaction basin. Our reaction basin is what sits right underneath our water treatment plant facility. That reaction basin is capable of holding 1 million gallons of treated water. And so what we did, every 3 years, we conduct work with Solomon Diving. They're out of Michigan. And they're certified divers that will come in, visually inspect and record the internal reaction basin. While they're down there, they'll take a look at the concrete structure to see what health that is in. They'll take a look at all of our gate valves that are underwater, make sure that they're operating correctly, and make sure there's no repairs that are needed at that time. Inside that reaction basin, that water gets treated with chlorine. So we have chlorine lines down there, and chlorine is corrosive, so it's good to take a look at those, get good visual inspection, and have that for our records. Upon inspection, everything seemed to be fine. After inspection, they also went down there and they cleaned the bottom of the reaction basin. This is because of the fact that over time, iron sediment will sit at the bottom of that. So it's important to clean that reaction basin from time to time. Next, moving forward is our water system improvement plan. We teamed up with Jones and Henry Engineers. In 2025, phase 1 was conducted. We conducted a water distribution system model. We had some of the engineers meet us here within the city, and they drove around in certain areas of town that they wanted to take hydrant flow tests in, so to calibrate the certain pressures within town. All this information will be inputted into that distribution model. We have yet to have a final distribution model presented to us, but they are working on that right now. We also had a water treatment plant system improvement study and an engineer's report. So what happened was they came here, kind of took a look at what assets we currently have in place, how the plant's operated, took a look at the aging infrastructure that we do have, and gave us recommendations on how to move forward with either the rehabilitation of the plant or a new facility. Phase 2, that will be completed here in 2026. Jones and Henry Engineers will develop a general plan of development. What that consists of is it'll be presented to Ohio EPA, and it's greatly needed for a funding aspect of this. Within that general development plan, they'll kind of spell out what our current condition is now and what the future will hold based upon which route we want to go with our treatment plant facility. We also worked with Bennett & Williams Environmental Consultants out of Columbus, Ohio. So what they do is they kind of take an overall look at our wells, our groundwater, and our task 1 was the preliminary evaluation of our groundwater resources. So what they were doing is they took a look at all Ohio DNR reports, our in-house reports based off our groundwater testing and our level measurements. They'll take a look at surrounding colleges with all their groundwater and geological studies that have done, and studies that we've done in the past, like the one in 2011. So after task 1 is completed, they'll come back to the utility and saying, hey, based off what we found, these are the areas that we recommend that you test for, that you drill for your new well field, if it's needed. After that's conducted, we'll meet and we can discuss on where we would like to go with this moving forward. So this is when task 2 comes into effect. Bennett & Williams will have an initial exploration, and this will consist of boring at least 3 test wells. So what they'll do with these test wells is that they'll take geological samples, core samples so to speak, see how deep we have to go within the aquifer, and see what type of material that we're working with. Moving on to the distribution side. In 2025, we installed 5 new water services. Those were residential services. We responded to 94 maintenance calls. These maintenance calls can consist of water service line repairs, water main breaks, valve replacements, and meter replacements. In 2025, we flow tested and winterized over 600 hydrants here within the city. We conducted our valve exercising program, and within our system we have over 2,400 valves. The bulk of our work for our distribution crew was the installation of the AMI water meter installs. This year we installed just over 2,500 new water meters within our system. With all these upgrades, it increases the firefighting capabilities and improves our water service reliability for our customers. Some other projects that happened in 2025 is our annual tower inspections. This is something that we do every year. We team up with USG Water Solutions. They'll send one of the representatives in. They'll take an inspection of the exterior of these towers and the interior. They'll take photos as they go, and they provide us with a final report at the end. In 25, we had to rehabilitate a filter cell within the treatment plant facility. We had to remove 200 foot of filter media inside our high-pressure filters. And the media consists of pretty much rock and sand. That's what eliminates the iron out of our treatment water, out of our groundwater. This rehabilitation took about a week. Once we removed that media, we had to go in, make the final repairs, and have the new media reinstalled. The next thing is the cybersecurity program. This was something new that happened in 2025. This has happened because the Ohio auditor wanted us to have a plan in place to mitigate possible data breaches within our system, to make sure that we have the proper training in place, how we would respond to a breach. This was a big shout out to Mike's department and our IT department. They took the lead on this for us, and we were able to conduct that and get that control. Next you'll see is our NPDES permit renewal. This is a discharge permit, so the water that we backwash to remove the iron, this water then goes to our red sand filter. Our red sand filter collects that iron and it sits there, and the remaining water discharges within the storm. So every 5 years, we have to renew this permit. It has to be approved by the Ohio EPA, and this was approved about a week ago. Each and every year, it's important to update your emergency contingency plan as operational processes change and assets change. We update our source water protection plan. That picture right there on the right is a part of that source water protection plan. That red line indicates the 5-year time of travel, and the blue line creates the 10-year time of travel. We update our lead service line inventories once again this year. In 2025, we had 2 water treatment plant operators achieve their Class 2 certification and the Class 1. Upcoming projects for 2026, we'll be conducting a system-wide leak detection survey with Aqualine leak detection. This is where they'll come in and acoustically listen to our system. They'll be able to let us know where there are water system leaks that aren't visible to the human eye or that have not surfaced yet. We have a big project coming up at the treatment plant to replace the header and control valve. This will be in conjunction with Peterson's Construction. This year we will be cleaning our red sand filter. Every 3 years we work with Atkins Sanitation out of Fremont, Ohio, where they'll come in, utilize the back truck, and remove the iron sludge out of our red sand filter. We have 4 main replacements coming up in 2026. The first one that you'll see is the 7900 block of East Mulberry Street. This project will consist of a little over 1,500 foot of 8-inch PVC pipe to be installed, 3 fire hydrants, and 42 water services. 300 to 500 block of West Bryan Street will consist of 1,600 of 8-inch PVC water main installation, 1 fire hydrant, and 25 services. And the next project you'll see is 100 block of Beamer Street. This project here is in conjunction with the city's paving program. We need to get in there first to put this water main in prior to the paving program comes. This project consists of 400 foot of 6-inch PVC and 1 service. And then lastly, we have 300 block of South Emmett Street. This is going to consist of a little over 400 foot of 2-inch PVC pipe and 3 services. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we'll be in phase 2 of our water system improvement plan with Jones and Henry Engineers, and we'll be in task 2 with Bennett and Williams for our hydrogeological study. And as Derek mentioned earlier, we'll be conducting our water rate study as well. Any questions?
I have a question. I noticed that a few people posted on social media that they had received a letter from BMU about the possibility of lead in their pipes.
Yep.
How many of those letters, first of all, who sent those out within the department? You,
Yeah.
your group? So how many of those went out, if you know?
A little over 1,100.
Really? 1,100?
Yeah.
Was the content up, was there more than one letter content, or there was more than one? They weren't all the same?
No, there's 3 variations.
Really?
Of the letter. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So last year was the first year that we had to implement that.
And that was dictated from the state, I think, you told me, or something?
Federal.
Okay.
It came from federal EPA, then went down to Ohio EPA, that we had to imply that. So every state and village every city and village within the state of Ohio had to do this. So what the Ohio EPA wants is that they want every city and village to be lead-free by 2034, I believe. So with this, we had to develop a lead service line inventory for all the service lines within the city, which there's a little over 4,000 here in the city of Bryan. That letter that was developed by the Ohio EPA, we cannot change the language in that at all. So when the customers read this letter, sometimes they think that there's lead in their water.
Right.
And I have many phone calls. And I tell them that that is not the case at all. You know, our treatment technique, we meet all Ohio EPA requirements and standards. So, one, there's a letter for an unknown service line. So this allows us to set up appointments with customers where we can come to their home, we can take a look at the service line that is feeding their home, and then we can update our records here at the utility. There's another letter that states that they do have a lead service line, and there's two parts to that. You have the PWS side, the public side, which is utility. That service line could be lead, it could not be. And then you have a service line from the meter pit to the home.
Yeah.
So the one issue this year, since people are receiving the same letter, you know, they're calling back, they're saying, hey, I don't have a lead service line. Well, why am I still receiving this letter? Well, it's because of the fact that the PWS side has a lead service line, but you may not. You may have copper coming into your home. But as us as a utility, we still have to let the customer know each and every year what they're certified.
So was your name and phone number on the letter if they had questions? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you typically get them back?
You didn't get a letter yet?
I think we did not get a letter. Did everybody get it?
No, not
No,
everyone.
1100
Not
he
everyone.
said.
I think I got mine last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, I don't believe we've been in our home 4 years. I don't believe we've gotten one. Not sure why. It might be good, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pretty much any home that was built after 1988, September of 1988, probably will not get a letter.
Right, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I was interested to see people posted that because my background is in metals and copper and plumbing, and the lead thing has been a big deal since the early 80s, mid 80s, you know,
Yeah.
since California did all the legislation, but yeah. Okay, thank you. Very good explanation.
That was my question too.
Okay.
I wondered
Okay.
about those letters.
Yeah.
Because I saw.
And I'm glad people had a number and a name, you know, to reach out to, because most people, I don't think, would fully understand all that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Brock Beck with the engineering department. This past year, we were able to obtain EPA plan approval for the East Mulberry Street and East Beaman Street water line projects, along with the well number 1 vertical turbine to submersible conversion project. On Ray's Drive, we assisted in obtaining an easement for a utility relocation, and we have started preparing the as-built drawings for that. At Autumn Chase Phase 4 subdivision, we performed the inspection and created as-built drawings for the electric and water line installation. We assisted the electric department with a number of boring projects that included creating the as-builts for Deerfield subdivision, Eastland Woods, and Eastland Estates. We also assisted in preparing the bid documents for the electric department's bucket truck. And always throughout the year, we had a number of miscellaneous water and electric drawings that we utilized to update and maintain our GIS mapping of the utilities throughout the course of the year. And that's most of what we worked on this past year. Thank you. Any questions for me? Thank you, guys.
Thanks, sir.
We'll wrap up the communications, engineering, and water.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is to effect semi-monthly disbursements. May I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Bryan,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
and Debra.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is comments from BPA staff. Derek?
Just want to thank the department heads, Jimmy, Brock, and Mike for their work on the presentation and everything they do all year, and their teams. That's all.
John?
Nothing else to add.
Jimmy, you have anything more to add? No? Brock?
No.
And Mike, anything more to add? paper?
No.
Deb, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I would just like to say thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to everyone for being so warm and welcoming. And thank you to the department heads for doing the review. That's very helpful, especially for me that's new, so thank you.
Jeremy?
I'd like to recognize Joe Farrell on his retirement. I worked with Joe for 18 years. I don't know if he wants me to admit that, but it was always a great experience for me. I know Mike's got big shoes to fill, but always a pleasure doing business with Joe. So I think his last day was Friday.
Bryan?
Just a couple of things. One is I've had people ask me, what we can do about getting these meetings videotaped again. They were obviously at one time and then it ceased, and I don't really have the history, but I would ask my fellow board members to at least think about it, and then we can certainly talk about it at a later date, but that was one of the things I wanted to bring up. And then also, I already spoke to the director and stuff. I think that the website, and with the pictures and everything, and the board now settled, the pictures will be back on. But I think it's important that not only is our pictures on there, but also a brief bio of who we are or what we've done or how we've gotten here. And I know the back history of why it was on and was removed. And I'm not certain if that is really not germane any longer. I'm not sure that that's really an issue. So just something to talk about in the near future. And that's all I have.
Karen?
Well, welcome the new board members to their first meeting of the year. Welcome, and I want to thank you, Mike and Jimmy and Brock. And Mike, you did a very good job stepping up and your year-end review. You knew what happened all of last year, and you blew through that very smoothly. Good job on that. You all did a good job, by the way. And Brock, I hope your new employees are firmly planted now.
Also, I think so, ma'am, yes.
I hope so. You've been juggled around a little bit, I think, but I hope everything's solid for you now. And I'm with you on the solar purchase power agreement. I'm real happy to see that coming through and maybe get finished by the end of the year. That'll be exciting. I think that's it for now.
I'm going to agree with Karen on the solar. That's going to be exciting to see that come in and be a stabilizer, I guess, more so than anything. Thank you. A big shout out to the utilities for all those help with the Chris Kendall market. Always glad to see that we're all about community, and our community is our family. Welcome to Debra, and Jeremy to your first meeting. And then great job on the presentations. That kind of just sums up the whole year, puts it in perspective again for us to be reminded of all the hard work that you do every year, every day, not just every year. I don't think I have anything else. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Bryan?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
And Debra?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.